Well, it's a play that mixes fantasy and historical fiction, written and directed by one of Korea's leading playwrights. The Train Came from the Past is a new production at the Seoul Arts Center, and of course our Yim Yoonhee is to give us a closer look during our arts and culture section of today. Good afternoon to you, Yoonhee.
Good afternoon. Now, this production is by Jang Woo-jae, and he won an award at the grand prize at the Korea Theater Awards for his production called This Is Home. Now, this is a new production that he's been working on for a few months, and I think you'll find he does a very interesting job of combining ideas and genres to contribute to his reputation as a highly creative director. Let's take a look at this play called The Train Came from the Past.
그렇게 며칠 그래도 하나도 싫어하는 사람이 없었어요. 꿈이 있었으니까 서울로 가면 뭐를 해야겠다. 만나자, 일하자, 놀자.
It's 1953. The country's just been ravaged by a war, and the silence is deafening. These refugees fled to Busan to escape the invading north. But now that Seoul has been resecured, they're preparing to ride this train back to their homes, back to their lives. And though there's victory in the air, it's a rough journey and a long ride aboard this train from the past.
In 1953, Lee Ji-soon gets on the train. But when it arrives in Suseok Station, Seoul, it's 2014. She doesn't realize what century she'd arrived in at first, so of course she's shocked and terrified when she finds out.
Directed by award-winning director Jang Woo-jae, this genre-bending play interacts with the characters and shares in their experiences. Combining both fantasy and historical fiction, cast members face the challenge of jumping into the mindset of Korea during the 50s, while finding themselves lost in modern times. The play mixes various effects, created by both the stage and the cast. The focus follows the actors and their emotional toils, as each character takes a turn in the spotlight. While The Train from the Past is something created by Chang's imagination, the train from Busan to Seoul is something very real in Korea's history. But Chang uses this time-bending approach in order to create a relatable and impactful story.
In a performance, there are many elements. You have to think about a big picture and about the choreography. The producer has to create a dynamic experience. When I make a production, I focus on the people. But to do that, the actors have to do a good job. I think that's the most important.
Ji-soon and her fellow travelers take a train to the future. But they can't leave the past behind. And now the characters must overcome both the war and the change. It requires the imagination of both the viewer and the cast. But this one-way train ride shows how time can change the future, but never erase the past.
Now, Yoonhee, this play has its background on Korea's history, which is, of course, nonfiction, and it mixes both history and fantasy. So tell me, what did you think about it?
You know, right away I was drawn into this play because the stage was very interesting. And it was simple, but it was just so interactive, and the simplicity of it kind of contributed to the whole performance as a whole. But the floor of the stage itself moved up and down, so it served a literal and a figurative meaning to the whole performance. But it's definitely his use of sort of fantasy on this very historical incident that happened in our time did really contribute to the meaning of this play.
Right, that's very interesting, mixing the past with the future. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you were telling me earlier that this is staged by the Seoul Arts Center in its SAC Cube. Oh, tell me about that.
Oh, so the SAC Cube is their new program. So this particular performance was one of the launching programs of Seoul Arts Center Cube, or SAC Cube as they call it. And this is meant to be a multifaceted approach to sort of sharing with the people the fact that Seoul Arts Center does create their own in-house productions. So they were telling me that many people go in there believing that it's only a venue, that the Seoul Arts Center is only a venue, a stage for people to show their performances. but the Seoul Arts Center does indeed create their own performances, and this particular performance was the opening to their premiere category of this program.
Well, definitely a new information for us that Seoul Arts Center actually produces their original plays and performances, and we look forward to more original productions from the Seoul Arts Center. Well, thank you, Yoonhee, for that, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Always a pleasure.